Investigators turned up the heat today on actor Robert Wagner in the mysterious death of his wife, Natalie Wood. Just last week, 48 Hours broke the news that Wagner, now 87, was named a person of interest in the suspicious death, which was originally declared to be an accidental drowning in 1981.
Natalie Wood seemed to have everything: beauty, fame, and a perfect marriage. But behind the scenes, she was hiding her rage toward someone close to her. The hatred began when she was just 16. This woman pushed Natalie into a hotel room with a 39-year-old married star, then told her to suck it up after he assaulted her. She controlled every aspect of Natalie's life, even sacrificed her childhood for fame. This, the heartbreaking story of Natalie Wood you never heard before. The story of Natalie Wood didn't start on a movie set. It started with a fortune teller. In the late 1930s, Maria Zakharenko was told two things about her young daughter Natalia. One, that she would be known around the world, and two, that she would die in dark water. From that moment, Maria wasn't just a mother. She was on a mission. She dragged little Natalie to sets, auditions, anywhere someone might notice her. By 1943, when Natalie was just 4, Maria uprooted the entire family from San Francisco to Los Angeles. She ignored her husband's protests. She ignored Natalie's childhood. All that mattered was the prophecy. Natalie's big break came when she was just 4 years old. A film crew spotted her in Santa Rosa. Director Irving Pitchell gave her a tiny role in Happy Land. It lasted only 15 seconds, but it changed everything. Pitchell kept in touch for 2 years. Then, in 1945, he called Maria and said, "Bring her to Los Angeles for a screen test." Maria didn't hesitate. She moved the whole family. Pitchell was so taken with Natalie that he even wanted to adopt her. At 7, Natalie got her first major role in Tomorrow Is Forever, acting alongside Orson Welles and Claudette Colbert. She had just lost 2 baby teeth and had to wear a dental bridge on set. Still, her performance stunned everyone. Welles called her talent terrifying. He said she acted from the heart, not the script. After the film, Natalie won the box office Blue Ribbon Award. Maria made a deal with Universal International and controlled every offer that came in. The money lifted the family out of poverty. Her father, Nick, even got a job as a studio carpenter. But things were never peaceful at home. Nick Zakharenko was an immigrant who had seen horrors in Russia. He worked hard, but drank harder. He had terrifying mood swings. When he was sober, he was gentle. But when drunk, he turned violent. Maria often took the girls to a hotel just to escape. Even after Natalie's fame gave them a better life, Nick kept drinking. He never stopped scaring his family. Natalie grew up in a house full of fear. That chaos followed her into adulthood. In 1947, when she was 8, Natalie starred in Miracle on 34th Street. It became a Christmas classic. She thought Edmund Gwenn, who played Santa, was the real thing. She was juggling 3 movies at the time. Her mother had just changed her name to Natalie Wood. She was told to act like another child star, Margaret O'Brien, while also taking cues from 3 directors at once. Despite the madness, she stayed sharp. She even helped other actors remember their lines. The movie was a huge hit. It ran all through the holiday season and helped turn the Macy's parade into a national event. Natalie's education happened between takes. California law required 3 hours of school a day for child actors. She learned math and science right on the studio lot. Directors were shocked by how smart she was. She never slacked off, even with a packed filming schedule. She studied at night, memorizing schoolwork and scripts at the same time. She went to Van Nuys High School while still acting full-time. In 1956, she graduated, balancing both school and stardom. It took a level of discipline that most adults couldn't manage. As she grew older, the studios tried to shape her. Warner Brothers wanted her to be a teen queen. They matched her with actor Tab Hunter. It didn't work. They controlled everything: her clothes, her hair, her public life. She was sent on fake dates with celebrities just for magazine covers. Some dates were real. Most were fake. Meanwhile, she worked constantly and supported her entire family. Warner Brothers made a fortune loaning her out to other studios, while she earned much less. She had to please gossip columnists just to keep her image clean. Beneath the glitz, she was trapped. By the time she was 16, Natalie had had enough. She wanted out of child roles. Rebel Without a Cause was her shot. She wanted the role of Judy, a troubled teen. But director Nicholas Ray didn't think she could play someone wild. So Natalie did something bold. After a night out drinking with Dennis Hopper, she got into a car accident. She ended up in the hospital. When Ray came to check on her, a doctor muttered, "She's a goddamn juvenile delinquent." Natalie looked at Ray and said, "Did you hear that? Now do I get the part?" She got it. She was just 18 when she played Debbie Edwards in The Searchers. It wasn't a big part. In fact, she only appeared in a few scenes. But those moments changed everything. Debbie had been kidnapped by Comanches and raised as one of them. When her uncle, played by John Wayne, finds her years later, she says, "I am Comanche." It wasn't just a line, it was a challenge. Could the audience still see her as the same girl? Could her uncle? Could she even go back to the life she had lost? Even with limited screen time, Natalie delivered pain, fear, and strength in a way no one expected. Critics praised the film, calling it one of the greatest westerns ever made. But quietly, they also started to see Natalie Wood as more than just a child star. That same year, she faced a different battle off-screen. Warner Brothers kept casting her as the cute girlfriend. No depth, no drama, nothing serious. Even after her Oscar-nominated role in Rebel Without a Cause, they wouldn't let her grow up. So she did something bold. She said no. She refused the roles. And for that, the studio suspended her for a whole year. She was 20. Her career could have ended right there. But it didn't. She came back. Warner Brothers cast her with James Garner and Cash McCall in 1960. It wasn't a hit. Then came All the Fine Young Cannibals. Another flop. The momentum she had worked so hard to build was starting to slip. Natalie knew what happened to child stars who didn't evolve. Hollywood moved on, but she wasn't ready to disappear. She had worked since she was 4. She wasn't just fighting for roles anymore. She was fighting for herself. In 1958, Marjorie Morningstar offered her something new, a real character. Marjorie was a Jewish college student in New York who wanted to act. Her family wanted her to settle down. It was a struggle between dreams and expectations. Natalie understood that fight. She connected with Marjorie. The film even showed real Jewish traditions, Passover, synagogue scenes, something rare in Hollywood at the time. Natalie brought heart and honesty to the role. And for once, she wasn't just there to support the male lead. She was the story. And the ending? Unlike the novel, the film let Marjorie stay independent. No wedding, no giving up. Just like Natalie, who refused to settle for less. But her biggest test came in 1961. That year, she worked with director Elia Kazan on Splendor in the Grass. It changed everything. She played Deanie, a small-town girl falling apart under pressure from her family, her boyfriend, and herself. The pain felt real because it was. Natalie had admired Kazan for years. He pushed her further than she had ever gone. In one scene, she breaks down in the bathtub, naked and screaming at her mother. No glamour, just raw emotion. She wasn't acting anymore. She was living it. People noticed. She got nominated for an Oscar, a Golden Globe, and a BAFTA. Suddenly, no one could question her anymore. She was a real actress, and she had earned it. But success came with scars. That same year, she filmed West Side Story. She played Maria, a role she poured herself into. She recorded every song herself, believing she was the voice the audience would hear. She wasn't. Behind her back, producers had already decided to replace her voice. They hired singer Marni Nixon to dub her completely. They didn't tell Natalie until the last day of filming. She had worked hard. She had believed their praise, and it was all a lie. Nixon later said she was told to keep it quiet. She couldn't even hear Natalie's original tracks, so matching them was tough. But it didn't matter. Natalie's voice was erased, except for one short moment during the Somewhere reprise. None of what we hear in the film is her. Natalie was devastated. She felt betrayed and embarrassed. From then on, she added clauses to her contracts. No more dubbing without her knowledge. In Gypsy the next year, we finally got to hear her real voice. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. Then there was Natalie's obsession with Robert Wagner. She was just 10 years old when she saw him for the first time. He was 18. Natalie Wood turned to her mother and said, "I'm going to marry him." His name was Robert Wagner. She didn't know when or how, but she believed it would happen. At the time, Natalie was already a star. She had a contract with 20th Century Fox and had just appeared in Miracle on 34th Street. Robert Wagner was still unknown, trying to get noticed in Hollywood. But to Natalie, he was already someone special. Years passed. Natalie kept working in movies. Her mother controlled every detail of her life, but Natalie never forgot the man she had chosen as a child. Then, on her 18th birthday, July 20th, 1956, the studio set up a date. It was supposed to be for publicity. Natalie had just starred in Rebel Without a Cause. Wagner, now 26, needed a career boost. The studio thought they would look good together in the press. But something real happened. They clicked. The connection was instant. 1 year later, on December 6, 1957, Wagner proposed. He hid a diamond and pearl ring in Natalie's champagne glass. It simply said, "Marry me." 3 weeks later, on December 28th, they got married in Scottsdale, Arizona. She was 19. Everyone thought it was the perfect Hollywood love story. But trouble was already building. Natalie's career took off. She got critical acclaim for Splendor in the Grass, West Side Story, and Gypsy. She even got an Oscar nomination. Wagner's career didn't keep up. He admitted it caused tension. He said it wasn't the main reason they split. But Natalie's own words painted a different picture. In a private memoir, she wrote about feeling overwhelmed. Even small arguments felt huge. She didn't know how to talk to Wagner anymore. They tried working together on All the Fine Young Cannibals, but the film flopped. Natalie's solo projects kept shining. Wagner felt left behind. Their marriage was falling apart. People believed the breakup happened because Natalie had an affair with Warren Beatty, her co-star in Splendor in the Grass. But that wasn't the real reason. The truth was darker. In a shocking reveal from Natalie's sister and a 2020 biography, Natalie had caught Wagner in bed with their British butler. The man had worked closely with them for years. Natalie had known Wagner was bisexual, but seeing it with her own eyes, right before West Side Story premiered, was too much. It broke her. They announced their separation in June 1961. The divorce was final in April 1962. After that, they went their own ways. Following her divorce from Robert Wagner in 1962, Natalie Wood fell hard for her co-star Warren Beatty. They had just finished filming Splendor in the Grass, and their chemistry didn't stop when the cameras did. For about 2 years, their relationship was electric, but also explosive. Natalie once described it as a collision from start to finish. She said that while Wagner never showed anger, Warren couldn't hold it in. And she admitted she matched his fire. To them, constant fighting felt like honesty. It was chaotic. Even Wagner later said it nearly drove him mad. He flew off to Europe just to escape it all. At the time, some wondered if Natalie had cheated on Wagner with Beatty. But close friends, including playwright Mart Crowley, said that wasn't true. The affair began after the film ended, not before. Still, it was a time full of emotional storms for Natalie. Then came 1966. On paper, her career was going strong, but something inside her had cracked. Her film, Penelope, flopped. She couldn't hide the stress anymore. She broke out in hives during filming. She later said she rolled on the floor in pain, and the director kept telling her she was resisting the role. She was. She couldn't take it anymore. So she did the unthinkable. She paid Warner Brothers $175,000, more than $1.5 million in today's money, to walk away from her contract. She fired her agents, managers, even her accountant. Everyone was gone. At just 28, she stepped away from Hollywood entirely. For the next 3 years, she disappeared from the spotlight. She didn't chase roles. She chased healing. Therapy became her priority. Fame had cost her too much. But in 1969, she came back. And she did it on her own terms. She chose Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice, a bold comedy that tackled taboo topics like open marriage and wife swapping. It shocked people, and it worked. The film was a hit, pulling in $50,000 in its first week. Instead of taking a flat paycheck, Natalie took a gamble. She passed on a $750,000 salary and chose a cut of the profits instead. That risk paid off. She made around $1 million, more than she would have made with the regular deal. Critics praised her. Audiences came out in droves. It could have been her second big run. But she didn't want that. After just 4 more films over 12 years, she quietly stepped back again. This time, for family. In May 1969, Natalie married British producer Richard Gregson. They'd been dating for about 2 years. Robert Redford introduced them and even served as best man. A year later, their daughter Natasha was born, and everything changed for Natalie. She didn't just like being a mother. She loved it. It consumed her. Her priorities flipped overnight. She let her career slow down just to be there for her child. She was only 31. For most actresses, that would be career suicide. But Natalie didn't care. Her friends said she was glowing with happiness. She laughed more. She felt freer. But Gregson felt pushed out. Natalie had poured everything into motherhood. The cracks started to show. In 1971, those cracks split wide open. Natalie found out Gregson was cheating with her secretary. She acted fast. She locked him out of the house and filed for divorce. It became official in April 1972. He left for England. Just 3 months later, Natalie shocked everyone again. She remarried Robert Wagner, the man she had left 10 years earlier. It was like a full circle. Wagner adopted Natasha, and now she had 2 dads. She called them Daddy Wagner and Daddy Gregson. Even though Gregson lived far away, He stayed in Natasha's life until he died in 2019. She posted a sweet photo of them together after his death. They had found peace, even if the marriage hadn't. But Natalie's deepest scars came much earlier. In the summer of 1955, when she was just 16, her mother drove her to the Chateau Marmont. Natalie was filming The Searchers, trying to make the leap from child star to serious actress. Her mother, Maria, wanted to help, but her idea of help was disturbing. That night, she left 8-year-old Lana Wood sleeping in the car and took Natalie inside to meet Kirk Douglas. Douglas was 39, married, and already a huge star. According to Lana's later memoir, Maria believed that if Douglas liked Natalie, he could open doors for her. So she sent her daughter alone into his suite. It was supposed to be a career move. What happened instead was life-shattering. Natalie came back to the car looking broken. Her clothes were messy. Her face was pale. She whispered something urgent to her mother, words that Lana couldn't hear. Lana didn't understand then, but something terrible had happened. That night would haunt Natalie forever. Years later, she told Lana what really happened. "He hurt me," Natalie said. She was scared, confused, and traumatized. The encounter felt unreal to her. She kept the secret for years. It was only after both she and Douglas were dead that Lana shared it with the world. When asked for comment, Michael Douglas simply said, "May they both rest in peace." Even worse, when Natalie told her mother what had happened, Maria's response was cold. "Suck it up," she said. That was Hollywood then. Girls weren't protected. They were pushed. Careers mattered more than truth, more than safety, more than justice. Natalie stayed silent because she had no choice. She was 16. And if she spoke up, she knew her career might be over. In 1969, she starred in Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice, which became the 6th highest-grossing movie of the year. It made $50,000 in just its first week. She could have ridden that success to even bigger fame, but instead, she stepped away. In the early 1970s, Natalie decided to focus on her family. She was pregnant with her daughter, Natasha, and wanted a quieter life. "Work doesn't play the same role in my life it used to," she said. From 1970 on, she acted in only a handful of films, just 4 more in total before her death. She appeared in only 2 theatrical films during the entire 1970s. But even though she left the spotlight, her talent never faded. In 1979, she starred in a TV remake of From Here to Eternity and won a Golden Globe for it. In 1972, she made a brief cameo in The Candidate, reuniting with Robert Redford. It was a slower, more private life, very different from her earlier years, but her personal life was not so calm. She had married actor Robert Wagner twice. Their first marriage ended in 1961. Rumors swirled. Some said she had an affair with Warren Beatty, her co-star in Splendor in the Grass. Others said she caught Wagner with another man. Whatever the truth, they divorced. But in 1972, they reunited. On the surface, it looked like a happy ending. Wagner's career was booming. He was making $10,000 an episode on It Takes a Thief, and later found even more success with Heart to Heart, which ran from 1979 to 1984. But things were not perfect behind closed doors. Their second marriage was full of love, but also full of tension. It was November 28, 1981. What was supposed to be a calm holiday weekend turned into a Hollywood mystery that still hasn't been solved. Aboard a 60-foot yacht called Splendor, anchored near California's Catalina Island, were 4 people: Natalie Wood, a 43-year-old actress with 3 Oscar nominations. Her husband, Robert Wagner, 52 at the time. Actor Christopher Walken, who was 38. And the yacht's captain, Dennis Davern. Natalie and Robert had been arguing for 2 days. Robert wanted to move the boat to the other side of the island. Natalie thought that was too risky. It was raining, and the sea was rough. That night, the 4 went to a local restaurant and drank heavily. So heavily that the restaurant manager actually called the harbor master, worried about how drunk they were. They came back to the yacht around 10:30 p.m. Natalie put on her nightgown and socks. She went into the main room, made some tea, and tried to relax. Davern lit candles. Walken and Natalie were talking and laughing when suddenly everything changed. Robert snapped. He broke a wine bottle and shouted at Walken, "What are you trying to do, fuck my wife?" After that, things got confusing. Robert later said that Walken went to bed and he stayed up. Then he claimed he went to bed too, and that's when he noticed Natalie and the dinghy were missing. But something didn't add up. Natalie had a lifelong fear of dark water. Everyone close to her knew she would never get into a small boat alone at night, in the rain, wearing just socks and a nightgown. Captain Davern told investigators that Robert stopped him from calling for help. They waited hours before sounding the alarm. That delay may have cost Natalie her life. The water was cold. Hypothermia could have set in fast. When the authorities were finally called, it was already too late. She was gone. Since 2011, Wagner has refused to talk to investigators, even though they've tried to reach him more than 10 times. Then came a voice in the dark. Marilyn Wayne and her boyfriend were asleep on their sailboat, Capricorn, anchored just 40 yards from Splendor. Around 11 p.m., they heard a woman screaming, "Help me! Someone please help me! I'm drowning!" Over and over again. Marilyn's son also heard it. They turned on a searchlight, called the harbor patrol, called the sheriff. No one came. The screams went on for about 15 minutes. Then a man's voice, slurred, called out, "Hold on, we're coming to get you." Then silence. The next morning, Marilyn saw the police near Splendor. That's when she learned Natalie had drowned. For years, the case stayed closed. But in 2011, it reopened. Captain Davern admitted he lied to police back in 1981. He said Natalie and Robert had a violent fight before she disappeared. That changed everything. Detectives chased down over 100 new leads. They even flew to Hawaii to search the yacht again. 2 new witnesses came forward. Both said they heard a loud argument between Natalie and Robert that night. That didn't match what Wagner had claimed. The medical facts added more doubts. When the coroner re-examined the case in 2012, they updated her death certificate. It no longer said just accidental drowning. Now it said drowning and other undetermined factors. There were bruises on Natalie's body, bruises that made it look like she'd been hurt before she entered the water. One investigator didn't hold back. She looked like the victim of an assault. Then, in 2018, Robert Wagner was officially named a person of interest. He was 87 years old. Investigators said he was the last person to see Natalie alive. They couldn't prove it was murder, but they couldn't prove it was an accident either. And that's the heart of this haunting mystery. More than 40 years later, we still don't know how Natalie Wood ended up in the water that night. Only 4 people were on that boat, and only one of them truly knows what happened.